Welcome to another video in this series of Better Riding. Today we're going to look at dual carriageways, motorways, multi-lane roads. Loads to talk about, so let's get into it.
So then, Giles, can you give us one of the main issues that bikers face on multi-lane carriageways?
So I need to tell you, ex-traffic cop, biker, and I used to nip into the crash investigation office regularly.
Okay.
I was quite friendly with the guys in there, and I'd always go in there and pick their brains about the latest bike accident. So probably the top accident on those multi-lanes, dual carriageway, motorway, is misjudging your speed when you get to the end feature, whether that is a roundabout, whether that is a slip-off, and then a really tight turn at the end of the slip-off. It's not getting your speed down for that problem. So picture that scene of a slip road with a very sharp radius at the end of it, a dual carriageway with a roundabout at the end of it. So if you've been doing motorway dual carriageway speeds for a little while, you can come into those and you think that you're at a speed that you can jump off and run alongside, and actually you're still 15 mile an hour too quick for the roundabout, for that very sharp bend at the end of the slip road. So there are a lot of accidents there with this get your speed down for the roundabout, the end of the slip road. So that was a very common one.
Right, so speed I'm now sorted on, but what else do I need to be aware of?
Let's talk about positioning your bike within your lane on dual carriageway motorways. So let's assume that there's quite a lot of traffic on there in this scenario. Personally, I never sit in the number plate where the old-fashioned boot lock would be. I never sit there when I'm following traffic on a motorway, dual carriageway. For me, one, I want an escape route. So that classic sort of 3-car pile-up on the dual carriageway. Somebody's got it wrong ahead, and suddenly it's bang, bang, bang. So I don't want that scenario as a motorcyclist. There's two things I can do to negate that. One is not be where I don't have anywhere to go. I quite like an escape route, if you like. And doubling up with that is if I sit on the shoulder of the vehicle in front, the wheel track, if you like, I can also see more. So in one of the earlier videos, we were talking about risk and reward.
Yeah.
So here is a good example of risk and reward. That the reward for me is if I'm on the shoulder of the car in front, I can see, let's say we were on the near side shoulder in lane 2. I can see all the way down that sort of void of lane 1 and 2, and I can see brake lights, indicators, things going wrong. I can see all that. That's a real advantage to me that I wouldn't necessarily have if I'm in the boot lock.
Yes.
Obviously, the risk now is I'm much closer to traffic in lane 1.
Yeah.
Lane 1 is just there. There's your risk-reward game again. Do I want to sit close to these guys and see? Do I want to sit in the boot lock of the vehicle in front and I can't see, but I'm not near those guys? How do you play that game? My choice generally is I'd actually rather see down there, and I'd rather see that the 5th car in front has just slammed his brakes on and I can deal with it now rather than be part of that chain reaction.
Of course.
Don't forget, you've also got all the little vans, trucks, car-derived vans, and you're sitting in their mirror. There's plenty of things that can't see you in their rear view mirror.
Yes.
I've got a van myself, and regularly I sort of think, there was a bike behind me 20 seconds ago, and I don't know where it is now. Where is it? He's still behind me. I can't see him anymore.
No, exactly.
Do yourself a favour and stick in somebody's mirror, escape route, see, and they'll see you as well. It makes sense to me.
So how close then, if I'm on the shoulder of the vehicle in front, how close or far back do I need to be?
We're back to risk reward. If I drop right back, that's a good thing.
Yep.
I've got loads of time to react and all of that world. Reward. Risk is that if I create a big void, somebody might be tempted to fill it.
Yes.
So, if you've got a regular sort of rhythm, a pattern of car, gap, car, gap, car, gap. If that's a regular thing, that's what a lot of drivers look at. So when they see a void, that's where somebody is tempted to fill it. So how do you play it? You decide, but just be aware that, if you're too close, you don't have much time to react. But in the name of safety, if you hang right back, are you now creating an area where somebody from another lane might go, oh, well, I'll have that.
Yeah.
You decide, you think about it, but that's quite a good conversation to have, I think.
So then, once the traffic has slowed down and I'm in that position where I can see down the line, at what point can I start to think about filtering? And before I do so, should I be doing it?
So filtering is legal. It's a grey area, though.
Right, okay.
My experience of insurance claims is that, it's very rare that an insurance broker, company, whatever, will always favour one party 100%. Everybody views filtering as it's a bit of an awkward area. So nobody seems to know what to do with filtering. It's legal, but it's a grey area.
Okay.
So we need to be careful when we're doing it.
Right.
And if it goes wrong, it's just one of those, the bike was filtering. It's one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
So it's legal, but be careful. Speed, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So in the police, when I was a police motorcyclist, we had a general rule, which was once the traffic is moving at 50 or above, we would generally stop filtering and now ride with the traffic. Anything where the traffic speed started to get below 50, we would start filtering. It's a benchmark, you, the viewer, you decide what you want to do, but that's what we did in the police. Here's a thing that I think about a lot, and that is the gaps, not the cars.
Right, okay.
So if I'm riding along, I'm not necessarily thinking car, 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 car. I'm thinking, where's the void? Where's the gap? Because that can get filled. That when two cars are like that might actually be the safest time to filter. Because they can't go anywhere. When cars are like that, well, this guy can jump into that lane, he can jump into that lane, and you might think, well, I'll wait until that scenario. Well, that might be more dangerous than that.
Yes.
I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. Well, I want the rider to reflect, evaluate, think about their riding, and I don't want to necessarily dish out a set of rules, but, I certainly think that might be safer than that.
Of course. You just got to bear it in mind, haven't you?
Yeah. Look, what about stationary traffic?
Yes. Yeah.
So, the threat there, which I see it, is people getting out the car and walking about.
Yeah.
There might have been a bad accident ahead. The traffic's come to a complete stop. People have been in their cars for 10 minutes, and then after a while, somebody's sort of going to open their car door and get out and start talking to somebody, what's going on. Can you imagine filtering and coming down through stationary traffic, and then a car door opens and you hit the blade of that door? It isn't worth thinking about. So if it's stationary, pay a lot of attention. So X-Traffic, Kent, Port of Dover, Channel Tunnel.
Yes.
Lorries coming in aplenty. Every day there was what we would call a side swipe. And it's that scenario where the lorry doesn't know that there's a vehicle right there by his cab, by those steering axle wheels, if you like. So he's looking in his mirror, he's seeing all the way down the side of his trailer, but what he can't see is there.
Yes, yeah.
And if you're loitering there, that's where you get the classic sort of, they call it in America, the pit maneuver or something. Where you clip the back bumper of the vehicle and you spin it. One of those every day.
Wow.
So I'm going to give you a phrase: beat them or leave them.
Yep.
Really what that means is, imagine your lorry has got a sort of a mobile yellow box junction alongside it. Don't go in it unless you can get out of it. So the scenario there is, lorry's in lane 1, you're in lane 2 in heavy traffic, and you're following the vehicle in front. When you get alongside that lorry, wait here, allow that vehicle to completely pass the lorry, and only when he's completely passed and given you space to be beyond the cab, do you then make your maneuver and you beat him and you get past his cab. But don't linger alongside him, especially near his cab, where you're down there and he doesn't know you're there.
Absolutely.
Beat them or lead them. Beat them or leave them. Oh, I'm going to leave these guys alone. But you can see it's back to that positioning thing. I'm going to run that dotted giveaway line. And in my mirror, I've got all of this stuff on my near side. The van behind me has flashed me out. Thank you, buddy. And I've given him a little bit of thank yous. A lot of mirror work. I know that there's a silver transit just on my shoulder. So I don't need to shoulder check, I don't need to lifesaver, I know he's there. After him, I know it's okay to change lane. And for me, there's more going in front, and the risk to me of taking my eyes off the front is more risk than putting in a lifesaver when I'm very, very happy with what's happening behind me. I know without a shadow of a doubt about the Mercedes box van on my near side and the silver van behind me. So again, we're back to this position and trade. So you could argue, well, you are quite close to stuff on your near side. Yes, but I can also see brake lights ahead. I can see that great big lorry changing lane. So I've got a very good view. More brake lights ahead, more brake lights still. Traffic slowing very, very quickly. All of that came from good positioning. Now we're into the world of filtering. So one of the things we were talking about earlier was gaps in traffic. Well, there's a great big gap on the near side. So anybody in lane 2 could swap lanes. And then once we're back into sort of very congested traffic, well, it might be hard for them to swap lanes then. So this BM and this white van, all the time that they're sort of next to each other, well, you could argue that's quite a good place to slot through because they can't change lanes. The other thing to think about, I think, when you're filtering like this on dual carriageways, motorways, is you're making a lot of progress that the car drivers aren't. So, you know, don't be greedy, I suppose is what I'm saying. You don't need to barrel through here. If you were in your car here, oh boy, would you be frustrated. But you're not. You're making so much progress. So do it safely. And there's just no need to barrel through here quickly. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video on multi-lane carriageways. Join us again next time when we'll look at another aspect of better riding.